Good morning, everyone. I would like to request the speakers to please come on the dais. Good morning, distinguished guests, dignitaries, and esteemed participants. I am Sudhir Singh, Section Officer in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and on behalf of the Ministry, I am privileged and honored to welcome you all to the 18th Urban Mobility India Conference cum Exhibition 2025. This technical session is on strategies for non-fare box revenue. The session is being graciously chaired by Sri Jaideep, OSD Urban Transport, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, who belongs to the Indian Railway Service of Electrical Engineers. Currently, he is working as Officer on Special Duty Urban Transport in the Ministry since November 2019. The session is co-chaired by Dr. Vikas Kumar, Managing Director, DMRC, who has vast experience of 35 years in all aspects of rail-based urban transport projects, including 20 years experience with Delhi Metro. Guiding the discussion as the moderator is Ms. Jayashree Jindal, who is a Senior Infrastructure Officer, Public Sector Client Department at AIIB. To begin the session, I am honored to request the moderator to graciously guide the proceedings of the session.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we are privileged to have a very esteemed panel here with us. So just a small opening on what the non-fare session was. We were planning to cover in the session, basically. So the idea was that with so many metros being expanded in India and a lot of operational deficits that we've seen across the scale of the metros have grown so much, we wanted to also talk about how non-fare revenue is becoming an important part of the system and what more can be done, along with what the existing metros have done today. So on the panel, we've got 2 chairpersons, we've got 3 metro companies representing, and we've got 3 independent experts. Each of them will talk about how the initiatives that they have taken have unfolded, and also with the individual experts, we'll discuss what more can be done, what has worked, what has not worked. With that, maybe I'll pass it to OSD sir for his opening remarks, and we'll start the session. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. This non-fare revenue is a very important thing, especially in metro system. Metro, as you know, that it is very, very cost intensive and capital intensive thing. And initially, if you construct any metro system, there is a time when ridership matures. Even if your ridership matures, it will not be possible for metro company to recover this your operational expenses as well as the interest payment. In India, what we have experienced that DMRC started their network, now they are mature. Even they have around 394 kilometer of network in Delhi NCR alone. But the problem is this, that because of this is high capital nature of, as I mentioned, that they are carrying 7 million passengers per day. But fare box is not enough to recover it recovers their operation and maintenance expenditure. But as far as interest and repayment part is concerned, interest and this loan repayment part is concerned, which is not possible, even in case of DMRC. New metros, like on my right side, Sushil, he has done lot of things to reduce his operation and maintenance expenses. But still, he is running in Lucknow, Kanpur and Agra. Lucknow system is almost 6-7 years old, but still with ridership, it is possible to recover operation and maintenance. Again, the same problem, this interest and loan repayment remains a thing. As far as fare is concerned, that our metro fares are decided as per our statutory provisions. There is a fare fixation committee which decides, headed by a judiciary judge, High Court or Supreme Court judge. The thing is this, ki if I increase, there is a limit to increase fare, because once you increase, any fare increase is there will be drop in ridership. It will come again, but there will be drop in ridership, and that is not our purpose. There should not be a substantial drop in ridership. So there is a limit to increase our fare. Then many metro companies they will be discussing that they are doing many things in increasing their non-fare revenue also. They are doing many things they will be discussing. I will leave it to them. But still we have to find out new ways and means that how can we recover. We have specialists in our panel. We have given the studies also to them. They have studied our Indian metro system abroad, and how can we do much more, that how to increase this thing. There can be station naming rights, property development, but there are challenges. So this is a very, very important, because if metro system, any transport system, metro system, it is confined to metro system, most of the people are from metro, whether it is a bus system or any other system. If it is dependent upon this assistance from governments, it is not a desirable thing, because you have to maintain your services. If your services goes down, then ridership will also decrease. So it is all, financial viability is related to your level of service. If you can provide a good level of service, then and then only the person who is traveling in personalized transport system will shift to public transport. This is the prime thing. That is why we tell ki this system should always be financially viable. If they are viable, they will provide good services. People will come, and at the same time they can control their fares, so that more and more people come. So with these words, I
Good morning to all of you, my fellow panelists, chairperson, and esteemed dignitaries present over here, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, metro systems, or for that case, any public mass transit systems, world over, it is seen that very few are having operational profit, I would say. What to say of payback of loans and capital expenditure? Operational profit itself is, in fact, very few numbered organizations are there which have operational profits. Out of that, Indian metros are one, like Delhi Metro is also there, which has operational profit. But that is not enough to pay back the loans and cater for even, I would say, very large-scale renewals also, as the life cycle costs will come into the picture as the system gets old. And the major challenge is that you have to keep the level of services, as Mr. Jaideep said, that the quality and level of services should be maintained. And at the same time, most crucial is that the fare also, you cannot increase, because it becomes counterproductive, and then the very purpose of mass transit system is lost. Because if you increase the fare, the modal shift will not be there from private to metro. So fares have to be kept, which is affordable to major portion of society. So this is a dilemma and a challenge also. So what is the solution? The solution is that we should develop streams of revenue earning which are other than fare box. So traditionally, what we have been doing, like we have a property development, malls are there at stations, rental spaces are leased out, then we do advertising, we collect revenue from even telecom, sharing the fiber and our spaces to the telecom operators or service providers. We also, major source of this is rentals and advertising. But there also, there is a limit to what a city can provide. Like we have gone in for advertising in a very big manner, but still we see that spaces are vacant at our stations. It is not that we are not earning from them. The advertiser has those spaces leased out, but he is not able to market it because the capacity of the market, what is the demand. We have even gone to the extent of advertising on the smart cards, advertising on even the uniforms we are planning now. That is a new thing which we are experimenting. We have also started audio advertising, like jingles and those things are there. Those are also new streams. We are also trying for moving cargo in the night time especially, so that more utilization of assets are there when the night time it is not required for the passengers, and at the same time the cargo can move. It would be better for the city also, because otherwise it will move by mostly the small vehicles which are run on fossil fuels, and they will clutter and congest the city also. So here, this we are trying to experiment, but still there are other requirements, and for that I would say that we should focus on value capture financing, so that a proper stream of traffic, because if your metro goes through a particular area, then all the people benefit out of that. And those benefits which are reaped, some should be pumped back into the system also, so that the system remains sustainable. Similarly, transit-oriented development also should be done in a proper manner, and there should not be any hurdles that the development, in fact, my colleague from Nagpur or Maha Metro would be there. There they have been given like a special planning authority status. So in their area and their stations, they can plan, and they do not have to depend on the local bodies. That is because here in Delhi it is very complex. Many stakeholders are involved, and to get permissions even to change the land use is very difficult. You do not get that easily. To get permissions for leasing on for residential basis, for long-term lease, that is also a difficult, in fact, proposition in Delhi. But still, these hurdles should be addressed, and so that metro gets more. And otherwise also, Delhi Metro, in fact, you might have heard that our Honorable Minister had said that we have formed a company of Delhi Metro International Limited. So we decided that since we are having expertise in construction and operation and maintenance, so why not earn out of that expertise also? So that is why we are trying, and we have bagged some O&M contracts in India. So that will also give a steady stream of revenue to us, and also it will give other benefits like promotion avenues to the cadre would also be better. So I think everybody should think of new and innovative ways, and probably this forum is the best because many metro personnel are there, many experts are there, so many suggestions would come up which we can imbibe and improve our non-fare box stream, which will make our system more sustainable. I would also like to make one point over here, that public transport systems are a necessity, so they have to be there. And if you see the return which they give to the society, if you try to monetize those returns, I think within a year to the tune of, like you take the case of Delhi Metro, within a year to the tune of 8,700 crores, you have paid back to the society. So if you consider in that manner, it is, and that is why I say these are required. Now, to make them sustainable and financially viable is the question, and for this, the society also should share equally because they are getting benefits out of this. So those benefits in terms of what value, whether you say value capture, whether you say other businesses which increase, the GDP of the area increases, so that should somehow come to the metro company also. And for that, if a unified metropolitan transit authority is formed, they would be the best to see that how these revenues are collected and then how they are apportioned. So this is what I wanted to say, and with this I pass on the baton to Madam Jindal so that she conducts the discussions further. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much to SD sir as well. We've heard very good background on the issues that the metros face and what potential solutions that some of the examples that have been tried. Maybe with that, I'll pass it on to MD, Managing Director, UP Metro, Sushil Kumarji, and hear what new innovations or what existing non-fare revenue options have been tried in the UP metros, and then we'll move on to the other sets of metros. So, sir, over to you to hear. Yeah.
Thank you, Jashiji. Good morning, all the fellow panelists as well as the participants. Let me highlight one thing first. I have a lot of praise for the metro policy. Of course, we are planning for a further improvement in that. But the idea of the policy where it is possible to repay the loan if all the provisions which has been forecasted in the policies are executed. I will summarize few things here by giving the numbers, then picture will be more clear. In last 3 years, a number of initiatives have been taken by UP Metro, and if we compare the different KPIs coming from the I-Metros, the non-fare to fare box ratio is one of the best in UP Metro. If we take out the average of tier 2 cities, our ratio is almost 58% better than the average. Similarly, non-fare box per kilometer, earning per kilometer through non-fare box is also 85% higher than the average of the rest of the tier 2 cities. Similarly, the retail earning per kilometer is almost 64% better than the rest of the metros in tier 2 cities. And even advertisement earning per kilometer is 61% better than the rest of the tier 2. And if we consider the average of all the metros, including those metros in cities, we are better by 19%. What we did, let me summarize in few words. The first part was to maximize the spaces, not only in train during the design, like one LCD on above 7-seater, we decided to have two LCDs, no cost on the cost of the metros. But the advantage is that the earning per coach is higher than the earning of a metro city because it is the area which is available to the eyeball for an advertiser. That's first difference which made the difference. Then second is we started approaching, instead of a local person, the advertising agencies in Mumbai, because they are the one who are distributing the fund all across the India. How much has to go on the north? How much of north will be shifted to UP? In such a way, we realize that if we are reaching to the top in the hierarchy, the chances of catching a good advertiser is much easier. Second part was the increasing the area on the station also, and a lot of leverages were given, but as Vikas Kumar sir has told, we are earning, but the contractor is not earning. Now let me go to the a slightly different direction. To give you a holistic picture first, if for a metro of around 25 to 30 kilometers, the loan which has come from FI is to be returned back, around 300 to 500 CR per year is required as a target. Right now, most of the metros are earning from retail and advertisement, because these two are the major portion, almost 1.5 CR to 10 CR per kilometer. That's all. So for a 25 kilometers, almost 30 CR. So we have to go to 100 CR. Out of 500 CR with a target, 100 CR should come from, and it has the potential. Let me assure you, we have the potential. We are somewhere around 30% to 50% from different metros. We have the potential to go up to 100 CR per year for a 25 kilometer network very easily by making certain initiatives which many of the metros in a silo has taken place. So that is one allocation, 100 CR. We cannot still reach 500 CR. So another 200 has to come from real estate business. One pocket of 82 acres allocated for Lucknow Metro on NUT mode, which we are on the process of tendering, has the potential of 2,570 CR. We are in a final stage to go ahead. There are still some hurdles. But this is one potential. Getting 200 crore per year will not be a difficult task if we have 2 to 3 such land parcels. Kanpur, we realize that there is a provision of 160 acres, but it's difficult to get the land. We have been continuously in touch with the government, and in last year in UP, the land parcels reconciliation with different department is taking place, and in last 4 months, everybody is surprised. There is a huge surplus land within the city available with different department which is lying unused. Like fishery department is having a huge land bank, irrigation department is having a land bank, because those land pockets were earlier allocated at the time of independence and is still not being used, and now lying within the city's premises. So government will be willing to give in time a good land parcel to metros, but policy improvement is required, chasing is required. Still a gap of 200 CR. That will come from VGF mode. The TOD policy, which was implemented in 2022, one of the first state in UP, on that year itself, UP earned 72 CR in 3 cities of Lucknow, Kanpur, Agra. Last year it was almost 184 CR. It means, and then there is another amendment in the act where, sorry for my bad throat, where a special development fund has been created, where the 50% of the development fee will be shared to metros and RRTS. We realize that there is a potential of around 300 CR to come from that. It is under the process, GO is yet to be issued. Third portion to come from is UMTA or DUTF as it is called in our state. Last year, government earned somewhere around 600 CR out of that. Most of it was given to the city bus services. Nothing has come to metros. It means there is also a provision, potential. So, hats off to the thought process given in metro policy. We have the potential to achieve whatever was conceived. Efforts are required. That's the only thing I want to say. Now, coming to the retailer side, there are few things which may be mind-boggling for you. India has almost 1,000 mall, and 600 are associated with Shopping Center Association of India. And then we also approached a Retailer Association of India. We realized, we learned from them what are they doing and how are they different. But first you understand it, if we have a metro of around 50 stations only, the surface area which we have created is almost 1.5 to 2 lakhs square meter. Of course, right now around 40 to 60% is being utilized, rest is still vacated. That is one challenge. We did 87 tenders last year alone. Still the occupancy is somewhere around 50 to 64. So potential still exists, but similarly, the kiosk potential is almost 1 lakh square feet of for the retail, other than the retail. We realize it's a hot selling cake. When we approach to this associations, we realize that they are taking advantage of so many standard market practices, which we are not able to do it because we have to follow the tender practices. And that's a big issue because we can't give it on negotiation basis. So if we are able to resolve these things, when metros were established, metros are successful in India only because we formed a SPV, we came out of the traditional bad, deficient items of a bureaucracy or in India or the construction agencies. A lot of power was given. Metros have their own schedule of power, and we were able to do excellently. It is well known. But on the marketing side, we are not able to take the advantage what is available to a private party because we are on a government party. So drastic changes are required. We realize that just by having a licensing with the brokers, giving them brokerage, 99, magic break, and talking to different consultants who at time are working on brokerage basis, even for advertisement. If we talk about all the top CBRE, WeWork, Beyond Square Feet, if we name all those top 5, including Anurag, we realize that they are also willing to come to rescue us to earn more and more, because if top 50 malls in India, average space is around 1.5 lakh square. For them, it is around 8 times higher than us. So it means in a medium mall, space is equivalent to a 25 kilometer of metro station. It's a big realization. आपकी हालत हनुमान जी जैसी है, आप जानते नहीं हो आप कितने powerful हो. We have not reached to the right parties. Once we approach them, we realize that it is easier to convert that into money, and that is why our non-fare portion is somewhere around 47%. There are many metros who are doing excellent, not only Kochi, Hyderabad. Hyderabad is able to take an advantage of all those negotiation while giving the work to them. Few of the items, before I close, which we experimented and is a low-hanging fruit and was not popular in earlier days, was the event management. Not only the IPL related earning, but book show, Grah Udyog exhibition, art photo exhibitions, product launch, festival events. We realize it is really difficult to even convince a good mithai wala to open shop at your premises. Earlier we gave it almost free, but slowly and slowly they started giving us money also. Once they realized that the footfall is at metro is increasing their sale. So many of the out-of-box thinking are going on in different metros. I will focus on those things which have not been covered so far, so under the discussion, like the sleeping pod. Yes, few of the metros are trying, few of the metros are under discussion. It will really be hit. Then coaching center, go down for E-Mart. That is also becoming attractive, but negotiation is a tough part out of it, because providing something at your house within 15 minutes, you read all those ads every day in newspaper. They are developing so many storage points so that they can deliver the product within 15 minutes. And your station is a good choice, particularly. There are some challenges, particularly with regard to safety, because each and every package has to be tested. So let me summarize everything. Potential is tremendous. Metros are going up. A drastic change in the thought process is required. We have to think that we are running a big mall. We will be definitely able to come all those things, and I'm sure that things will change drastically in last 4-5 years, just 4-5 years, not beyond that. One or two caution where we have to go ahead. The conversion rate for retail is low, and it is further going to low because real estate boom, another boom has already come for residential purpose. But every city is having, even after COVID, almost 1 lakh to 2 lakh of square feet of area is still vacant in city, smaller city, tier 2 cities. So when you are there, you have to provide some lucrative on top of it. Similarly for advertisement, the policy decision has taken place, particularly in UP, in last 6 months. The digital advertisement has allowed even on the road, you can see a big hoarding now in different cities. So it means your earning will go away to that particular market also. Right now, after COVID, we UPMRC has a growth rate of 12% for advertisement, for retail, 13%, and 42% for advertisement. Very, very impressive. Against the national ROR of only 12%. So we have to be very cautious and we have to go along with the market, but potential is there and it can come. Only 3 things: retail, advertisement, VGF, and then third is real estate. Real estate, sir has already highlighted, many things are required. We need support from policies also, and a little bit positive attitude has to come from the bureaucracy also. Thank you very much.
So much, sir, for those remarks. 2 key takeaways for me at least. One, while we heard the percentages and other shares of non-fare revenue from different aspects, one good matrix that I learned from this discussion was how a per kilometer could be a benchmark for comparing different metros, because the network varies across cities, the revenues, the total fare varies across cities, and a percentage of that may not be a best comparison. So looking at more, per coach comparisons, per kilometer comparisons is a good way to look at. To give you an example, Shenzhen with, and I will talk a lot possibly about China metros because I work closely with them. Shenzhen has a network of around 600 kilometers, or Shanghai and Beijing have 800 plus kilometers, and their non-fare share revenue also is at 30% max, because possibly the network, they have got 17, 18, 30 corridors, and the ridership is much higher. So the number of non-fare may look small in terms of percentages, but is a big absolute number. So maybe looking at more comparable metrics is one good way for cities across India to go forward. The other good learning for me from this conversation was how you get experts for the right set of things. So reaching out to the people who understand properties, who understand real estate, is one way for cities to get into this as compared to doing it everything in-house. So reaching out to the right people who understand the subject. And the third was freight, and with that segue, maybe I will pass it to Director of Finance in DMRC, Ajit Sharma ji, to talk about the unique initiatives that Delhi Metro has taken. One of them is freight, but sir, any two important that you think over and above freight, please do share that with the audience, the 2 key initiatives on non-fare metro that Delhi Metro has taken. Thank you. If you want the slides to come up, we have the slides there. I can pass the point.
People can actually,
sorry,
they
please.
can look at the slides.
That's the pointer if you want.
So good morning, respected senior panelists, my colleague panelist, and good morning, everyone. Respected senior panelist and my fellow panelist, and the representative from various metros and other organizations who are available here. I am Ajit Sharma, Director of Finance. I'll be taking you through to the, the non-fare box mode. What exactly, at the macro level, it has already been covered by the OSD and by the MD of DMRC and the UP Metro. So I'll be only talking about, at the micro level, what exactly we are doing. There will be some overlapping between the micro and the macro, but that is purely unintentional. So here you can see on the slide, there are five non-fare box revenue streams. The first one is media. Most of it is common. The only thing is which I have highlighted, that is something which we are trying to focus recently. That is the tunnel advertising, the audio advertising, including jingles. That is, some statutory announcements are made every time in the train. There is a gap in between the two statutory or the required advertisements. So that slot is being utilized, for making the advertisements. And the third one is the mobile app advertising. We have created a mobile app from where, the ticket booking, the journey planning, everything can be done. We are using that also as a platform to earn some money, non-fare box revenue. As far as the spaces are concerned, the new thing which we have done is there are some routine things like food and beverage stalls, retail, ATM, etc. But the locker rooms we have tried to create, at the station, and these locker rooms can be hired, and these are becoming quite popular with these agencies like Amazon and Flipkart, etc. You can pick up at the end of your journey. You can hire a locker. You can pick up your things, and take back home. There is no need of a delivery, at home when you are not there. Similarly, temporary promotion spaces for film shoots, etc. That is also we are trying. As far as telecom is concerned, there are some routine things, which the giving space for the telecom towers, in-building solutions, etc. is there. But something unique which we have tried is that typically in our area, in a metro area, it is easy to lay the fiber optic cable. So what we have done is that if we lay the cable, the capital cost is on our side, and we have to actually lease out the fibers. And sometimes, the fibers, they are not to the actual requirement of the other party, who's taking the fiber on hire, because it may not be covering the complete city. It may be, in patches only. So what we have done is that we are only giving the right of way for laying the cable in our network, and against that right of way, we are taking the lease charges from that operator. And wherever the patches are to be provided, that are provided by that particular operator, and they are going to the market and sell it as a product, rather than, so that saves us from any capital expenditure. That saves us, selling the, fiber section by section. So, and approximately, I'll give you the numbers, approximately 500 crores has been committed over a period of next 20 years, as far as this area is concerned. Land and property development, of course, has been mentioned a number of times. Plenty of initiatives we have taken. We have even brokers like JLL, small brokers, they are there. For public sector, we are directly negotiating with them. So all those, actions we have taken, and I'll show you the numbers that we have made a decent progress in the numbers, over the years. Then in the other sources, last mile tie-ups we are doing. These tie-ups we are doing with the like the She Ride is there, Rapido is there, and then Uber we are trying. So some from the last mile tie-ups we are also earning some money. And some tickets, we are taking the responsibility of the ticket sale for any trade fair and public events like IPL and marathon, etc. So that is also, we are able to earn some money out of it. As far as the revenue split is concerned, 80% is from the fare box, 20% is from the non-fare box. And if you compare, this is as far as the overall revenue is concerned, but if you look at non-fare box to fare box, it is 25%, which is quite decent. Even the NFBR split, if you look at, nearly 60% is coming from the station box, everything, including the advertisement, etc. And approximately 20% each is coming from the something, which is not close to the station or at the station, which is far away from the station, and the rentals from there, and 20% from the external projects and consultancy, which has been mentioned that DMRC has a huge experience both in implementing the projects as well as giving consultancy. The next one is, this is a summary of, the earnings which we have done. As you can see, in the last year, 1,000 crores have been, we have earned from the non-fare box. 4,000 crore is approximately our earning from the fare box. That is the total position. And 300 is coming from the station. telecom business is contributing about 75 crores. The rental business is something, which is beyond the station, that is 473 crores from external projects. This is the net value, the profit which we are earning. This is not the revenue. Similarly, the consultancy business, another 35 crores, that makes it 1,000 crores. As far as the advertisements are concerned, these are very usual things: indoor, outdoor, train, audio advertisement. Of course, we have introduced recently promotional events and digital events, but the thing which I want to point out is that we have gone for the long-term contracts, as you can see, 9 plus 6 years, and we have standardized it across. So that is giving us a long-term, visibility as far as the revenue is concerned, and the bidders, they are also coming in numbers because it is giving them a long-term visibility. The station co-branding we have started, and others, metros, they have followed. And this is one area, where the returns, there is a huge scope. 226 metro stations are, possible. They can be given on co-branding. 79 stations we have already given, and the numbers are increasing. Some other, along with these station co-branding, we have added few things, like, for example, the external area, it can be given a color. Inside station can be given a theme. Certain area kiosks are provided inside station. So and even in the audio advertising, we have agreed that we will take the complete name, including the name of this. Like, for example, in this particular case, the name of the Vivo will also be announced. So that is also, giving another opportunity for the bidder, for the advertiser to reach out to the people. DMRC has also made its own app. Primarily it is for, our last mile. Primarily it is for journey planning. Primarily it is for our QR ticketing, our updation of, our NCMC and other cards. But we are trying to leverage it. We are trying to provide some different facilities, like smart lockers can be, booked through this. Utility payments can be done. Some e-commerce deliveries are also possible. Last mile tickets can be booked, and even some event ticketing can be booked. And we are trying to leverage it. And the formula, what we have devised is the revenue share, 65% of goes to the licensee through this platform, and 35% comes to DMRC. Approximately last year, 35 lakh of revenue we have earned. The telecom business, I have already mentioned that 548 crore is expected in the next 20 years without any capital expenditure. The new initiative we have taken is we in the last few years, we have seen that there were so many disputes with our vendors. We have tried to resolve those disputes. We have formed committees. They are regularly on job. We are trying to resolve those issues. That way, the comfort level between the bidder and the DMRC has increased. They are coming for, taking more spaces with us. Like, if we are having a continuous, fight with our bidder on various issues, naturally, it affects our position into the market. So we are trying to improve the goodwill. We have taken some decision with regard to, waiver of penalties, some reduction in the interest rate for whatever dues were there. Another thing which we have done is that consolidation of tender, as somebody mentioned, that, if we go to the last, series in that advertising business, he is simply, purchasing the, the spare space and looking out for, the people, those who can advertise there. But if you want to move up the chain, you have to, offer a bigger, contract. And that is what we are doing. For the phase 4, there are 6 lines and 84 stations. And 3 lines are going to be commissioned this year and next year. 3 will take another 3 years. But right at this stage, we are planning for this. We have initiated the tender inquiries, and we'll bring the bidders in position. Of course, we'll hand over as and when, these stations or these lines, they get commissioned. So there will be hardly any gap between the station starting and, the revenue which will accrue to us. And apart from that, we'll be getting the, in the value chain, we'll be moving up. And there are some small tenders, where 2-step tendering was done, first the technical and then the financial, that we have reduced, that it will be a single step up to 3 crores. So that way we are able to finalize and quickly, give the, particularly small shops and kiosks, for rentals. Similarly, we have adopted the, like for example, the DMRC is not allowed to sell the electricity. We are purchasing, and as per the rules, we have to collect that, whatever is being used by our rental business people. We, it has to be measured and it has to be recovered from them, and then at the same rate. And then at the end, we have to pass it on to the distribution agency. But there used to be a lot of disputes with regard to this, that the meter is running slow or meter is not effective or something like that. So what we have done is we have gone for the smart metering. We have provided at almost 70 to 80% right now. They will pre-charge, they will use it according to their needs, and the disputes between the DMRC and the vendors have reduced dramatically, and our money which is stuck up on this account has also reduced. And for the convenience of payment of our vendors, we have gone for the customer payment portal along with a bank, reputed bank, where we simply, identify and put the invoice on that portal. The person or the vendor can see, what are the invoices and which are the invoices they want to pay. In fact, it has reduced a lot of workload in our finance section also, because sometimes it was not known that this payment, if a person is having more than 5 shops or 10 shops at different stations, for what shop he has made the payment. So it has made the reconciliation also very easy, and the vendors are also happy about it, because they at one shot they come to know what is due to them. Audio advertisement and stay at the Pod Hotel at New Delhi railway station. We have made a Pod Hotel, so that is also got a good response. Impediments are, I think, universal. The local authorities, they want a share. We don't have any problem with that if they want a share. The only request is that too many, approvals, etc., that should be avoided, because that doesn't serve any purpose. Next. So the way forward is that we are looking at, at bigger stations, the lounges and co-working zones. Some of the toms we have replaced by physical selling of the tickets is by the ticket vending machines. So these toms will be available. They can be used either for a small shop, kiosk, or even they can be used as they can be used as a small digital bank also. We are exploring that possibility. The new metro lines, we have taken a call that we will try to do it early. We'll try to do it, try to move up in the value chain as far as the advertisement is concerned. And we are also exploring. We have done the tender. Of course, we have not been successful till date, but I'm sure that somebody will join us as far as the merchandising rights are concerned. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And very good examples on the OFC cable and the right-of-way leasing that we've seen. Also, a good example that I would personally want to share about DMRC was the UMI announcements were being made at stations. The audio announcement saying UMI is coming up, please join, was a very unique idea, and really appreciate that initiative. With that, maybe I'll pass it on to Chennai Metro. We've got Nireshji, who's a General Manager Business Development. We've got Vijay Vardhanji also here from Chennai Metro, who's a Joint General Manager Marketing. And sir, over to you to share what good 2 initiatives you think Chennai Metro has taken. And I think there have been really good initiatives on the event management especially, and the property development side of it. So maybe those 2 if you can highlight first and then go into other details. Thank you.
Respected panelists and to all the guests here, good morning to one and all. My name is Nirish, General Manager of Business Development. In fact, Chennai Metro, we have currently 2 lines which is running, totally about 54 kilometers. And non-fare box revenue is almost around 135 crores actually, which contributes to about 32% of the total revenue which we are generating. In fact, I think panelist was also talking about China, where, which was the station we were mentioning? Cities. Almost around 30% is the non-fare box. In fact, to be very precise, I think Director of Finance of Delhi Metro has already detailed a briefing on the type of businesses which is carried out in non-fare box. In fact, we could broadly classify various types of business. Might be the next slide, yeah. I have broadly classified the various lines of businesses into different portfolios. One is the advertising, where we have various fields. like station advertising, semi-naming rights of stations, and advertising in trains where you could advertise inside trains as well as the wrap trains. Plus, you could also look at various metro alignments where we could develop unipole advertisement. That is also one of the new concepts which is getting developed. And these are classified under semi-naming rights. And I think challenges were also being discussed by the fellow panelists. The other important aspect is the real estate portfolio, where we could develop the commercial office spaces as well as the retail kiosk developments, plus new kind of vending machine formats, like we would call it as there are few concepts which has been developed by Delhi Metro, where digital locker system has been introduced, and ATM machines, and then even I think a courier service is also introduced along with the ATM machines. A very unique concept, in fact. And the other major aspect is the land leasing. Now coming to the other infrastructure is the telecom and IT, where we lease the OFC cables and then leaky cables inside tunnels and small cells, as well as IBS and BTS structures. In fact, I don't know, most of the Chennai Metro, we have almost 50% of the spaces is covered under tunnels actually. So elevated stations is almost about 50%. So leaky cable plays a very crucial role there. And the other segment is the film shooting, and then parking spaces and events and management. So these are the activities which are broadly classified in non-firebox. See, one important aspect which I would like to highlight is, especially for non-firebox, all these activities are evolved actually. It is not that everything is predetermined and then immediately it was launched. So this has been evolved depending upon the supply, demand, marketability, and location specific. Once we have a template, it doesn't mean that we can replicate this across metros actually. Every metros, every markets differs. So we have our limits and bounds where we can have a similar type of customizing the requirements, and then we'll have to go for the new projects actually. So these are the existing line of business. Now going forward, our main focus has to be on new innovative concepts actually, where we could look at metro stations cannot function as a transit center. We need to look at a center of excellence or a hub and spoke model for any kind of industries which would support, where metro can provide a platform. I would say, I think today a few metros have already shown us few examples actually. And when it comes to Chennai Metro, we have already done a co-working space exclusively, where a leading company has taken the space, and we are in discussion with many more companies where co-working space is of demand. And I could see Delhi Metro, where the dormitory services have been introduced. And I could see in Kochi Metro, there is an IT park which has been launched. And I could see a premium institute which is going to come up in Kochi Metro. So likewise, Metro should function as a center of excellence for industry-specific projects actually. In that case, we could be able to develop a lot of projects, and non-firebox will play a significant role, so that every metro stations will be unique actually. And the other aspect is where Chennai Metro is focusing is on the real estate development, where in fact Chennai Metro has formed an SPV with local Tamil Nadu Infrastructure Development TIDCO, and we are going to develop a lot of real estate projects, because as we see that there are a lot of potential in non-firebox revenue. Now, one of the major development which is happening in Chennai Metro is we are going to develop almost around 1 million square feet of commercial space, which is going to come up in the heart of the city, just opposite to the central stations, where we are going to focus on TOD concept. In fact, we have got a higher FSI of 6 FSI, and 1 million square feet is going to be developed with a mixed use. And in fact, one of the uniquenesses, we have already connected the central station with the local suburbans, plus it has also connected with the electric metro stations. Plus, we have also connected a lot of multimodal development has also happened. So this, in this way, in fact, this is going to be a major development which is going to come here in Chennai Metro. And apart from that, urban development. In fact, yesterday I was in another conclave which is happening in Dwarka. So even they were talking about focusing on urban development. In fact, Chennai Metro has already developed barren land which is in the metro alignment, almost about 5.5 acres, which is below a flyover. And it was a very bare land actually. Now today, Metro has developed it into a retail hub with a public utility services also with an economic feasibility. And today almost about 40-50 retail hubs functioning there, including Starbucks, plus KFC, all these retail hubs are there. Plus we have also developed a park for public use, and there is an amphitheater is there. And today 24/7 that urban park is functioning actually. So these are the various activities which are doing in Chennai Metro. Yeah, might be I would like to share the mic to Vijay. Might be you can give a perspective on the event managements.
Thank you, Neeraj ji. So this is something unique what CMRL has achieved is we are partnering with the major event organizer. So we have already executed 3 IPL sessions with Chennai Super Kings. So we will be having a MOU that contains the train operations and the commercials and the passenger movement. Everything will be described in the MOU. So there will be a commercial that given to CMRL by the Chennai Super Kings. It is not only the CSK. We are also had a tie-up with live music concerts and other major international music concerts like Ed Sheeran's and A.R. Rahman. So what we do is we will take a commercial from all those majors, and it is not only about the integrations. Also, we will integrate the QR into our AFC system. For example, if you're going for a stadium, the same QR can be accessed in our AFC. So you no need to take a separate ticket. The ticket is absolutely free, is based on the commercials. And moreover, when there is a crowd, if it is beyond the operation time, per train, the commercial will be based. If I'm going to run extra 20 trains, the 20 trains, the operation cost for the rest 20 trains will be collected by the CMRL from the organizers. Based on this, post 11:30, I mean, the operation mostly ends by 11, but the event organizers like IPLs and World Cup, Formula racings, mostly this will end post 11. So what happens is, the food vendors, small retail shops, advertisement, everything, they got a lot of potential, so they're approaching CML nowadays is because wherever the event is happening. So this is something unique that what we have achieved other than other cities. It is also advisable that if other cities are following the same way, wherever the event is happening, it is better they can connect with it. So there is a spike which also happened in ridership. So if you see, we started this initiative in 2023. There was post this IPL event, we saw that experience almost 30% of hike in a ridership, and now there is another 30%. We started from 1.2 lakhs. Now we are coming at 3.5 lakhs per day. This is all because of we are introducing what is the potential of metro and the need of travel to the public.
Thank you so much. And I'm glad to know that the schedules are accordingly also updated, and it also, men are happy. From the women perspective, I'm super happy on that, because then it allows women also to access the opportunities late at night and have a safe mode coming back home. So thank you so much for doing that. And we also heard about interesting, under the flyover, tunnels. Another important area where a lot of metros, and Mumbai Metro I know is trying to do, Hong Kong Metro does that, is develop the subways that connect to the buildings and do a lot of property development along that. That's another significant part of property development on rental revenues. With that, maybe I will pass to Gautam Patel. He's an independent expert on the sector. He's worked a lot on PPPs, on metros and electrification. So Gautam, what is your experience of various metros that you've seen, and sources of revenue, non-fare revenue?
Yeah, thank you, Jayashree. We've heard very good examples of different kinds of non-fare revenue. So a lot of ground has been covered. We did a study for MOVA also, looking at the revenues across metros. And primarily what we see, and like Sharma ji also talked about it, that Delhi Metro is here in terms of non-fare, and the rest are still evolving. So Delhi Metro is around 1,000 crores, like Ms. Sharma showed. The rest, like Chennai Metro is about more than 100 crores, pure non-fare revenue, excluding interest income and stuff like that. So leasing property, and then you have, Kochi Metro, Bangalore Metro, around 50 crores. A surprising entry there is Hyderabad Metro, which has about 450 crores of non-fare revenue. Obviously, because, and there is a lesson there, because that's how it was designed to facilitate, revenue from property as a model for development. And not to say that that has to become the mainstay, but the point that is, point that is relevant is that if a metro at the time of its planning itself is designed in such a way that it enables property development, and space is earmarked not only at the beginning of the metro, but periodically it keeps receiving, property related, concessions or properties like it happens in Hong Kong, then the metro is able to sustain these activities. Because from what we observe is among all the kinds of non-fare income, property is something which has a much bigger potential. The rest, of course, are necessary. You will need a diversified base, but the contribution of property-related revenues can be high. And I think good to see that Chennai Metro and Kochi Metro are looking at the new frontier, because the new frontier for metro property would be beyond retail. So it will be to get into office space, because the bigger money in property is in office spaces. And the property markets, they work on what is large bundled contracts. So if you offer a very large bundled space to a property developer or a property consultant who is into this kind of businesses, you are able to negotiate much better prices. And for example, like I think sir was mentioning for UP Metro, that it is the space on a 25-kilometer metro line is equal to a medium-sized mall. Now, if you see as the network grows and if there is a property development around stations or on the top of the stations, this can take very large proportions. And then the metro company is in a position to negotiate very good deals with property markets. So that is on the property market. And there is another lesson which is also seen, that beyond property and beyond non-fare revenue, the value capture TOD revenues have to come in, and we have yet to see a lot of process. We've yet to see a lot of action there. The Government of India has done the VCF policy. There is also a TOD policy. If you can go to the next slide, please. So there is a national TOD policy. MoHUA has been extremely facilitating. Even the Metro Policy 2017 has very good provisions that make it mandatory to point out these things. So we have had this kind of policies. Can you just go to the next slide? I'll just show a few slides which are, and at the state level, interestingly, if I just talk about the VCF, at the state level, a large number of initiatives have been taken by state governments. If you see what, for example, the urban land tax, the, tax on conversion of land, betterment levies. Now, what is still yet to happen is that while this money is collected and that is evolving, it is yet to translate into a mechanism for transferring that money to the metro companies and to public transport. That is something which is yet to happen, and that needs to be looked into very carefully through the mechanism of urban transport funds and, UMTA and all of that. So that is, can you just go to the next slide, please? Yeah, so this is what I was mentioning, that the non-fare revenue, my numbers may not be as correct as yours, sir, but the Delhi Metro is about 1,000 crores and the others are, evolving. Next. Yeah, so there are other very interesting examples of non-fare revenue which are planned. I mean, the Delhi Meerut RRTS, about 1/3 of the revenues are planned from property and non-fare revenues over a period of 30 years. Next. And there are, of course, several mechanisms in terms of the additional stamp duty. Pune is also now additional stamp duty. Pune Line 3 we will be watching, with a lot of interest, because it has got a real estate element and there is an element relating to stamp duty. Pune has introduced a 2% stamp duty for every transaction in a certain area. That will 50% of which will go to the metro. Yeah, I think that's all for me. I think I'll hand it back to you, Jayashree.
Back. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Patel, for that. And the interesting point for me, at least the key takeaway, was how does this value capture that is happening gets transferred back to the metro companies which really need them. Maybe with that, I'll pass it to Jignesh and hear what your experience has been from the sector, and given your experience internationally also, have you seen successful examples of how this has transferred back to the the metro agencies, the transport agencies, but also the non-fare experience in general from there. Thank you.
So I'll just stand up because I can see the other side of the room as well. Thank you for having me here. Just taking on from Mr. Gautam, TOD, transit-oriented development, is actually a very important aspect of non-fare box revenue. And one of the studies that we did for IUT, and I would just like to show some slides from there. So there are these two parts to my presentation. And as Mr. Gautam also showed, there are many cities where we have TODs and TOD policies. Out of that, we started looking at 9 cities. And in 9 cities, if you see, there are 2 things that we need to consider. One is that TODs are important for increased ridership, but also they are important for increased revenue generation. And especially land utilization is a key thing that we need to really focus on, because we are putting so much money into building the metro. But are we utilizing the land and the development around the metro in the most efficient way? And if the development around the metro is not happening, then there is a bit of an issue, both in terms of ridership as well as in terms of revenue generation. So we looked at these 9 cities and multiple stations around that. I'm not going to get into too much of in-depth of that, but for example, this is a map of Delhi. In that, we looked at 30 stations. And in that, along those 30 stations, I'm going to give you the example of this 6 ones highlighted in red. But let me just zoom into one of them. So now this is Bikaji Kama Place. This is how the development around the metro looks like. Okay. When you convert that into a pattern where how much of the land area is under the buildings, how much of the land area is under the streets, and how much of the land area is under private open spaces. And now this is where you see the pie chart, and you see that the highest amount of land area is under private open spaces, not under buildings, not under streets. Buildings are where you can live, work, entertain, shop. Streets are where you can drive, connect, walk. Private open spaces are less desirable for TODA specifically. And this is where we need to figure out how do we change the land patterns. Now this is where people coming from planning side, we also need to collaborate with them. And we say that how do we really change the regulations and incentives around that. So this is another picture of that. Around 6 stations, and I'm just going to very quickly give you a glimpse of that. Now again, if you see all the light gray areas, which are the private open spaces, now that's where you see 60%, 53%, 57%, more than 50% is in the private open spaces. And less, around 30% in built-up areas. So, and this is not only the pattern in just these stations. You know, all 30 stations, if you look at, average about 23% is under built-up area, 56% in the private open spaces. And just moving forward, other cities as well. We look at Bangalore, we look at, so again, a similar pattern emerges, more than 50% under private open spaces, and about 25 to 30% under buildings. We need to have more land area under buildings. And this is the final picture. Now you can see all the stations all together. And if you convert that into pie chart, what you see is overall average, about 30% is under built up, 56% under private open spaces. And if you just quickly compare that with the international examples, now some of these cities, now they all have metros. These are high urban areas that we have looked at. 54% is under built up. Only 11% under private open spaces. And 35% under streets. So that allows people to come to the stations and make better connectivity. So that's where you see the comparison, and that's where you see the comparison. 14% in streets versus 35% in streets, and built-up area 30% versus 54%. So now with that, having made that point, there's a second part of this study where we also looked at the built-up areas and the FAR. And the FAR average is about 0.9 in Delhi. That is consumed FAR, the floor area ratio. And this is where also the increase in the built-up is slowly happening, but not as fast. And then subsequently, other stations also, other cities also we looked at. But overall, if you see, the average built area in 9 Indian cities is about 1.1. Versus, if you look at the international cities, some of the global case studies, it's about 3.4. So this is another potential for us to increase the development. And now the second part of that, where we come to the revenue generation and the non-fare box revenue. There are, of course, multiple modes, and all of our experts just talked about that. But I'm just going to quickly talk about from land and specifically from FAR in these 5 cities. So now Nagpur is one very good example that we also talked about, where a great thing that is happening is that whatever development is happening within the TOD area, there is a revenue sharing mechanism that has been worked out. So 50% of the revenue coming from the development goes to the metro, 50% to the authority, which is a great mechanism. And based on that, then they are able to see a lot of revenue generation. So about 200 crores, these are numbers from their website, about 200 crores they have received from those developments. Similarly, they also have a cess, 1% additional cess on the development, and that has also generated good income, which is a very good thing. Now, opposite to that, Kochi Metro itself is doing very well, but the planning around that, first time they have created this transit-oriented zone. The issue in Kochi, for example, is that the FAR in the entire city is 3 base FAR, and +1 is purchasable. So entire city has this high permissible FAR. So no matter how much additional incentive that you give in the TOZ, transit-oriented development, there are not going to be any takers of that. And therefore, the TOD may suffer. So now this is where the struggle is, that how do you create this differential FAR and just look beyond only the TOD planning, also look at the overall master plan and say that how do we create these differentials? And that's a very important understanding that we need to bring in. Another example is Ahmedabad. Now, Ahmedabad has created this differential FAR, where base FAR is 1.8 throughout the city. TOD gets additional 2.2 and additional 3.6 in CBDs. So that's where the differential FAR comes in. And that's where then any additional purchasable FAR is charged at 40% of the Jantri rate or the circle rate, which is significantly high. So just to give some kind of comparable numbers, one of the very recent development in the CBD area, it was, it generated 35 CR from one single development. So if you talk about, about 10 or 15 such developments happening just in CBD area, there's significant revenue getting generated there. Unfortunately, we don't have revenue sharing mechanism between metro and authorities in Ahmedabad. And also, Delhi is doing a very good effort in terms of Karkadoma and other development and other TOD policies. However, the other than DDA land needs to be also monetized. So that's where I would end here. That's the kind of overall summary. And there's a lot of question answer we can have.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Mehta. The coordinated planning between city and the transport authority on TOD zones is a very, very important aspect, and many cities need to iron that out, at least for the metros to start reaping the benefits of the development that is happening. The other important aspect from the presentation that I take is the competition that happens. So while we are developing TOD zones, we should also be cognizant of the parallel surrounding development that is happening on its own. There's a lot of vacant land which is there currently. While the global examples have a lot of development, maybe the time frame of that development, we are at year 0 maybe, or year 5 in India, whereas they are year 30. So that may, we will eventually get there, but how fast can we get there is the point, is the question, and what steps can we take? But with all of those background, maybe I'll move to Harsh Kumarji. He's a financial expert. He's with an extensive career in railways. He's now acting as a financial expert for MAHUA and other agencies on what the challenges in his experience and the report that he's authored on non-fair revenue have been, and what do you think, sir, potentially can be the way forward? So over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I must thank MOHUA because they gave me opportunity to speak here. Now you have a chairman and co-chair. Slide laga dijiyega. I've already covered macro level, then Ajit and others have covered micro level, and then nuances of property development also have been covered. You're wondering what is the issue which needs to be basically addressed to make sure that railways, metro railways make more non-fare box revenue. मेरा वो slide लगा दीजिए भैया. I have only one slide. Yes. Now I want to explain you that the central government, the three-tier government, state government, and local bodies. And if you look at that, you will be wondering, metros keep losing money, but still we keep investing metros because input and output, if you compare, output is far larger than input. Metro is beneficial, metro does very good work. But when you come to metro itself, expenditure and income that you see, expenditure, whatever input gets out of pocket for them. What every paisa they is to be paid by them. But when you talk about income, all the output does not flow into income. Only a part comes. Even passengers who travel, their fare is not decided by them. It's an external body where they have to go, plead, talk, convince, and after much problem, something is agreed. They ask for X, they get X minus million delta. That kind of issue happens. And it is not only here, in almost all metros all across the world. In fact, Transport for London, in the forward of that written by Mayor of London, he says that metro, we should have increased fare, but I don't want to increase fare. And the delta that I've not increased, I'm giving as a direct input to metro directly from the local bodies. Now, there are two aspects of, one is that coming through the efforts of metro, non-fare box. Other is efforts beyond metro, not just metro, but local bodies. Unless a reasonable share comes in from that, earnings will not go up. Whether it is the same body which is fixing fare, says what is reasonable. Nagpur is certainly one area where they've agreed, but Delhi, I have talked earlier, and Ajit also mentioned that, okay, let's not use some strong word, but it is very difficult. Okay, it doesn't flow in. If that flows in, DMRC will be doing far better and maybe probably doing a lot more projects than they're doing now. How to do that? Now, how do you make sure that local bodies, metro, state government, work in tandem? Like other places, you have a land transport authority, which is taking care of all transport, or whether you have an external body, like which is fixing fare, or something similar, or you have a something like GST Council, a Metro Council, where these issues and equitable share coming to Metro can be decided. On theory, on paper, a lot of things have happened. Probably they'll translate down. If you see the sanction letters of ministry for the metros, they list out almost a huge number of things which don't happen immediately or even in what I call reasonable future. It sometimes takes long time. If that is monitored, by the way, we have 3-tier committees at the level of Cabinet Secretary, Chief Secretary, as well as even a group of ministers. But somehow, a lot of issues like DMRC has mentioned, I've also spoken to other metros, issues keep lingering. Sometimes you may find it's absolutely I will not use again a strong word, very strange. In Bangalore, a motorist will get distracted by hoarding and may cause an accident, while the same motorist may come to Delhi, he will not get distracted. And there is, no, so there are a lot of issues like that, but fortunately with the effort that, training effort that have happened, these things will even out. Two very good things that happened, that have already happened, which our Honorable Minister had covered. One is the training institute. You see, DMRC has taken a lead over the years, is number of years far ahead. It'll train people so nobody makes a mistake or people actually learn to do right first time. Second is looking for international business. A lot of metro companies abroad do this, and DMRC has a proven record in India. Certainly that will help. So these two initiatives have already come. And local body training, Bangalore, they had a very good training organized with the local body people to increase the level of understanding, maturity, so that sharing, etc. would happen. Same thing would happen in Delhi and other places. That is the area if we see action fast or implementation of the schemes faster. I do not know state governments. We feel that they're not moving probably as fast. Maybe they have their own issues. But once that happens, you'll find a further spurt or faster work. One more thing that, as you would have understood, that, area in which you can make money, non-fare box, are known. But how to do that is extremely difficult. Let me explain you. Each thing requires huge amount of effort. I was talking to Mr. Ajit the other day. Even say hoarding. Will it be paper-based? Will it be electronic? Power, and mind you, what they mentioned about power, it was an issue, and it requires an effort, and then finally, huge number of them changing it. Details are very difficult to work, and details is where probably when DMRC starts training, the institute works. The new railways no longer inventing. They all learn from DMRC and the training institute. So I wanted to cover the basic issue of why we keep talking about it and how it'll get augmented hugely. If you see other way, the DPRs of most metros say 10% non-fare box revenue. And believe me, all of them are earning more than 10%. So if you see that way, they are fairly doing, but they know, and we also know that there's huge potential. Once a little support comes from local bodies. Now, what is working abroad may not work here. Like Land Transport Authority is working in Singapore very well, working in London very well, may not work here, but there has to be some viable solution found to make sure that all the three people, state government, local bodies and metro, are together and making sure the city is getting full benefit and metro is getting their reasonable share. With that, I have covered what I wanted to cover. For this, any question, I will certainly take up. Thank you, Jashi.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And, very good point on the unique problems that each metro faces. While we've heard of a lot of solutions and the forum continues to discuss these, I'm sure each metro has unique settings. The policies, the advertisement policies vary from city to city. The TOD policies vary from city to city, and which is why every metro has their own set of unique challenges. Hopefully the forum will help improve interaction between people and find solutions. But sir, the audience has been very kind to us. They've been listening to this. So with your permission, can we take one or two questions? We have 7 minutes. So any questions, please? Yeah. Can we have the mic with the audience, please? Thank you. Okay. So we'll take 2 there and we'll come to you, sir. Thank you. Yeah. If you could please introduce yourself and keep the question brief.
My name is Rajesh Chaturvedi. I am presently director in Gurgaon Metro. It was an excellent session where I think panelists cover everything. And if we have to summarize today's discussion, the non-fare box revenue may range for any metro from 30 to 50%. Out of this, about 2/3 has to come from property. Rest, 1/3 you have to do lot of effort, lot of activities, flurry of activities to get there. So if we require 3 points from ministry on this part, it is allotment of land and allotment of land to the metro organization. So can we not have very oversimplified policy that per kilometer basis, if proposal is coming for a metro organization for approval for new line, it should have something linked with commitment from state government to provide that much land per kilometer in the 1 kilometer corridor of the metro alignment. That is one part.
So can I request you to keep the question brief? This was not a question, more of an observation, I believe.
Yes,
but
it's observation.
Thank
Yes.
you.
And one more observation, in fact, it's not a question, it's an observation. In very much zeal of getting non-fare box revenue, we sometimes venture into area where people find it uncomfortable, like naming rights. Naming rights has to be done very judiciously. We have had some examples where FIT, JE, that controversy we had. Anytime I pass through Mehroli Gurgaon Road and I find Pokarbaji, Sultanpuri station, I really find very uncomfortable myself. Name has a very sentimental value for everybody. So let us have sanctity and should not be changing after 3 years, 4 years from, let's say, Bank of Baroda Andheri station to LIC Andheri station. So it becomes very difficult. We have to be cautious about it.
Thank you so much for that point, but sir.
Recommendation, we should, if we are going for naming right, let us stick to the places which are going to be permanent there.
I partially agree with you that station name is identity of that place. If you give naming rights to somebody, after some time it will lose its originality. But at the same time, wherever it is possible, they are doing it, we can have. But at the same time, we have to ensure that, I agree with you, that some originality should be maintained. And as far as the land pocket is concerned, that in all proposals we try this thing. And we get, in some of the cases, instead of land pockets, because most of the places where metros are being now constructed is passing to the most dense part of the city, where it may not be possible, like in Delhi. But what we are getting, that from some contribution from urban local body or local authority, that like we are getting from Nagpur, in Delhi we are getting from DDA. But as far as if we go outside city, then for cities to give land will be much easier, because we have to see the other part also. We are seeing from our perspective, because you are in the management of metro company, but we have to see from other part also. They have also some problems. Suppose that they give land, it's not possible in a city like you have come from Chennai, or now presently you are working in Gurugram. It's a little bit difficult, but if you go outside, then it becomes easier. And we are doing especially in RRTS, we are getting huge pockets of land in depot. And I agree with your suggestion, whatever we may say, advertisement and all these things, the main revenue, non-fare revenue will come through TOD and your property development.
Thank you so much. I think we had a question in the back. Yeah, I think the mic's already there. Sorry, sir.
Hello.
The third one.
Yes, thank you, esteemed panelists, for all your talks on this one. I want to reflect on the policy of TOD, which talks about increasing the population densities in the area, and that kind of translates to enhancing the affordability of that space also. So with respect to that, the strategy of having additional stamp duties, do you see that as slightly conflicting in this respect? Thank you.
Do you have any specific panelists you want this, or general?
I think Jignesh sir talked about it, so
Okay,
maybe.
sure.
Thank you for that question. Any additional charge that you put in place, it may drive away the development if the surrounding areas are more lucrative. Okay, so this is where, if it is a ubiquitous cess, not a problem. If you are specifically charging in TOD areas, then there is a possibility that, the development might go away. And this is where, the play with differential FSI and differential charges are very important. So just one example that I was giving about Kochi. In Kochi, even if you increase the FAR in the TOD areas, it may not drive the development within the TOD. However, at one point, there was also consideration to put additional cess and additional purchasable FAR into TOD areas. What that might do is drive away the development from TOD into outside TOD areas. Now, this is a kind of anti-TOD policy. So now this is where you have to be absolutely careful. So it's a very good question, and there has to be a very calibrated answer for that.
Can I also respond to your question? Actually, what I feel is that once you are increasing the stamp duty and you are offering whosoever is the customer a place right next to the station, you have to look at the benefits, from his point of view. He will evaluate, that 1% or 2% of extra duty with regard to the savings which he's going to do, when he's staying right next to the station, everyday travel cost, family, and so many other things, So it is a conscious decision. Of course, I will say that he will take a call. What we are saying is, if I'm creating a value of maybe 100 rupees, if I'm taking 2 rupees or 5 rupees out of it, I don't think that it will be negative. But if it is a substantial portion of the value which is being created, of course, it will be negative.
Had one question in the right-hand side. So can we have the mic here, please? So we'll pass to him. Sorry. Maybe more questions you can talk to panelists informally, but because the time is up, we'll take one from the right, and maybe if there's one in the left, maybe the lady in blue, please. Thank you. I'll give women a chance. So over to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all the panelists. Myself, Vinay Sethi, GGM Finance and CRTC. Two things are there. One, my colleague from Chaturvedi sir already told that. I think that if per kilometer we can have a delta to give a land to the metro company for say 0.1 or 0.2 per kilometer per acre, then it will be good for at the time of, if it can be made in a policy, then it will be good for development of PD spaces. All the metro companies have the visibility that what they are getting in the land area. Secondly, if the roof rights or the development above the stations and the depots or the parking spaces, if that can be given in the sanction letters with the help of state government and the local authorities, that will be helpful for developing these TODs. And third thing I want to add, just to that if all the charges which a company can get, like Nagpur Metro is getting stamp duty from the beginning itself, and these type of initiatives can implemented across all the metro companies, that will be helpful to overcome these loss situations in the metro. Thank you.
So over to you.
This Nagpur initiative which you have mentioned is a very good initiative, and since beginning they did not face any problem in the loan repayment part and this interest repayment, and at the same time they are earning profits. So this model they have adopted, that 1% additional stamp duty, then 100% development charges, which has been increased in TOD zone. It has really paid dividend. So this is a very good practice.
I'll just respond to one part of the question, that why can't some portion of the land, it can be linked to the length of the project or the metro or the NCRTC, when it is sanctioned. What I feel is that in some cases it is very easily, it is available, the land, it is possible to give it. But sometimes, like for example, in Delhi, we are working, for connections which are right in the most densest part of the city. So I think there, if the TOD policy is there, and increased FAR, that also acts like, giving land to you. So it is a TOD policy, if the TOD policy is implemented, in real sense. And from there, the extra land requirement may not be much. I mean, that is what I feel. If the TOD policy within the 500 meters or 800 meters, if it is implemented in the right spirit, I think that will give the a very decent amount of earning, back to the, of course, it has to be plowed back to the metro organization.
And it's more important that TOD policy should be implemented in the right sense. That it should not be, if you increase FARs in some of the places, what they have done, they have initially confined higher FAR around this TOD zone. Subsequently, they have increased everywhere. Nobody is going to come. So that is also there, and everywhere it is not possible to provide land. Mind it. Delhi Metro is constructing corridors. We have visited those sites. It's very, very difficult. So wherever it is possible, we should do it, and we have to see the other side also. That is what we try in every project, that we should get as much as pockets of land, but everywhere it is not possible. Once this system expands, then it may be possible. If we go beyond state boundaries, then it will be much easier.
And one last question from the lady.
Thank
there.
you so much. This has been a very insightful session. I'm Aarti Parigi from Newton Auto, and this is to all the distinguished panelists. You did speak a lot about as the ridership matures, and I also heard about focus on real estate and land. But have you considered the first mile and last mile electric metro feeder buses as a solution to the non-fare and adding to the new non-fare box revenues or revenue streams? So, any light on that? Thank you. To all the distinguished panelists, because there's a lot of focus on land and real estate. There was a little mention of last mile though.
See, the revenue, I fully agree with you. The revenue, which is accruing to the metro, it basically is, the ridership and, the fare, basically. Ridership multiplied by the fare is the total revenue. So ridership is a very critical component, And when we are preparing the DPR, at that time we are indicating, how the people will switch, their modes from individual transport or even from bus or even from other, paratransit, they will move to the metro. But the thing is that for this transition to happen, the first and the last mile connectivity is a very critical, very, very critical part. We can write anything in the DPR that so many people will switch, but if the first and the last mile connectivity is not available, the customer or the client, he is not willing to shift. So I fully agree with you that the first mile and the last mile connectivity is a very, very critical component. In fact, in the phase 5A, we have tried to, develop the metro, and with the support of the MAHUA, what we are trying to develop it is as a urban transport project rather than a metro project, where some last mile connectivity portion, buses, capital expenditure will also become a part of the, this phase, basically phase 5A. So to some extent that is being taken care of. Of course, there are issues with regard to, who's going to run those buses, who's going to, whatever losses are there, who's going to bear all those losses, but they are still being debated. But at least some portion that once the metro is created, at least proportionately some buses, they should be also allocated along with that, so that they are also available when the metro is in, is being constructed or is constructed, and they are available, for use.
The thing is this, if you see this last mile connectivity, which you have mentioned that some investment should come, you are trying to say. Basically, if you are providing last mile connectivity, so it's last mile, 1 or 2 kilometer, 3 kilometer. In this, it is very difficult for the operator to earn profit. And as Ajit Sharma Sahab has told, that if it is coming as a package, as a financial assistance, then it will work. And last mile, first mile is very, very important for the ridership. Whatever discussion is taking place today on non-fare, First thing is very much necessary. If you have ridership, sufficient footfall, then and then only advertiser will come. Then and then only property development will take place, or some shops will come. Otherwise, the main important thing is your ridership. Ridership comes with 2-3 things. One is that if you construct 20-30 kilometer metro line, it is not going to fetch you ridership. Initially, Delhi Metro, when it started, it has a very, very moderate ridership. In Pune, in everywhere we are seeing. As network increases, Bangalore, if you increase 5 kilometer of network, ridership jumps by 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 4 lakh. So this network effect and first and last mile connectivity, and also TOD with higher FAR. If you densify those regions, your ridership is automatically will rise. And unless and until we have ridership, don't expect any non-fare also. And first and last mile connectivity, which you have mentioned, it will pay dividend in the form of increase in ridership. Don't take it as a profit-making business. DMRC has run few buses they have purchased through Triple P, and it is not making profits per se for that segments. But it is definitely increasing ridership of Delhi Metro. And for first and last mile committee, my thing is this, we are also thinking, as Honorable Minister has mentioned in this inaugural speech, that we should have, if we want to have a modal shift, and what we want modal shift from the private vehicle user to this public transport. So he has mentioned in this speech that we should have different class of accommodation in the coaches, and for last mile connectivity. We should have also different class of last mile connectivity. If a person doesn't have deep pocket, he should have a affordable kind of thing. If he wants to spend much on last mile connectivity, he can do. And level of service will be different.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to the esteemed panelists, and apologies to the audience we couldn't take more questions. Please find the speakers separately off the dais, and then we can take more questions then. But sir, any closing remarks from your end, and we'll wrap up the session. Thank you.
Only thing is this, whatever discussion has taken place, DMRC has given presentation, MD has spoken about this thing. They have mentioned that around 5,000 crore means 6 billion their revenue. Out of that, 25% is their non-fare. But if you see this revenue, this is only coming from property development, advertisement, and some pockets of land they have developed. It has not come through TOD. If TOD policy comes, if they get higher FAR, this will increase from 25% to 40%, as Mr. Rajesh has told. It will improve this financial viability. To my take, all the panelists, which Mr. Jignesh has also mentioned, he is conducting a study for us. The main source of revenue which can come to Metro's company is your TOD. And he has also given, Mr. Sushil has also suggested one thing, that that we should approach this centralized advertisement system. They are approaching directly to them. They can get, if Metro company has huge area, if they can come and they can do their advertisement, it can be huge revenue. And we have to get some support, as Harsh Kumar Saab has told, that he has also conducted a study that we should get support from the state government for this TOD, this additional stamp duty. It will definitely improve our financial viability, because now most of the metro system are new except for Delhi Metro, and some replacement and all these things will also come. And we have to maintain our level of service, and this is very, very important thing, that we have to increase our fare revenue as well as non-fare revenue. Fare revenue should be increased only with high footfall by different things. Thank you.
Everyone, maybe I'll pass it to the IoT colleagues.
Thank you, sir, for concluding the session. And thank you, ma'am, for conducting the session so smoothly and keeping the discussions lively. Now, I would like to request the Honorable Chair of this session to kindly present the mementos to our esteemed speakers and moderators as a token of our appreciation for their valuable contribution. Sri Sushil Kumar ji. Shri Ajit Sharma. Shri Niresh. Shri V. Vijayvardhan. Shri Gautam Patel. Shri Jignesh Mehta. Shri Harsh Kumar. Ms. Jaishi Shindal. Thank you, sir. Now I would like to request Mr. M. Ramachandran, former Secretary, Ministry of Urban Development, to kindly come up on the stage and present mementos to Honorable Chair and Co-Chair of the session as a token of respect. Please give him a round of applause. Chair and co-chair, sir. Co-chair, Mr. Vikas Kumar. Thank you, sir. As we conclude, I, on behalf of Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, wish to express heartfelt gratitude to all the dignitaries, speakers, and participants for their valuable contribution in making this session a success. Thank you all.